Welcome everyone to Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, websites by plebes or plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. We're going to the numbers. Let's do it. At the time of this recording, the block height is 695,182. The Bitcoin price, 45,600. Chain rewrite days, 1,015. The total public lightning capacity, 2,230. And yes, Nico, we're gonna one of our watchers, calling click, mentioned that there's over $100 million on the Lightning Network, and that deserves a cluck. What was that? All right, he gets a little one, but that's not our... The official noise is going to be a different noise when we get to that 2,500 mark, which apparently we're really not that far from. So...
He really wanted to cluck, man. He couldn't contain himself. He's been pecking. Ow, what the fuck? He's been pecking my eye. You know, he's been trying to, get on the show, but I keep telling him, only all-time high, Satoshi. Okay, anyways.
No chickens were hungry.
I told you to shut up. Okay, anyways.
All right. Put them away. Sats per dollar, 2,190. The day since the all-time high, yeah, that's right, 118. So that metric I can get rid of because that gets boring. I mean, obviously, it just keeps increasing. So that metric, gone. I thought it would be fun that one time. And then it's like the next day, it's like, oh, well, that just went up by one. That's useless. Anyways, blocks to the halvening. This number gets different, so we're going to keep it. 144,818.
Oh, and by the way, we got a request in the comment. No, a correction in the comments. Oh. So it's not actually 3 years to the halving. It's actually 2 years, and I'm gonna pop it up. But okay. Someone was kind enough to do the math for us. So shout out to, I forget who you are, but we'll pop it up. So we'll give you the proper credit. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. All right, we got a lot of requests for this one today, so I felt we were going to go with a different one. Okay, it was going to be like this kind of like long threaded fail, right, to just kind of paint a picture. But this happened today, and we felt that it was very important that we shit on this because it deserves that. Let's dive into this wonderful technology that's supposedly helping people out. Realizing blockchain interoperability, building the next generation internet. I'm sure you are. Let's take a look at what that next generation internet's starting to look like. Let's take a peek. All right, so we got a tweet from Zach Kane. That was one person that tweeted at us. I don't know how you guys keep up with all the fails. Oh, he's talking about Poly Network. We're sorry to announce that Poly Network was attacked on Binance Chain, Ethereum, and OX Polygon assets had been transferred to hackers following addresses. But wait. Now we're going to actually dive into the information about this. So here we go, guys. 611 million stolen in massive cross-chain hack. My interoperability needs to be money. Hey? Yeah, it should be a token. Hey, good job. Way to go. Anyways, here we go. Cross-chain protocol Poly Network has been hacked for $611 million. Great. Cross-chain protocol Poly Network has been hacked for $611 million in the largest DeFi hack to date. This is, I did not realize this was the largest rug pull. I mean, technology advancement. That's right. They're advancing the tech. This is how it works. I'm sure the people that lost all their money right now, they're totally feeling that advantage. The tech got better. Anyways, here we go. Poly Network is a protocol for swapping tokens across multiple blockchains or getting screwed, including Bitcoin, Shitcoin, and Shitcoin. It was formed by an alliance between the teams behind multiple Shitcoin platforms, namely Neo. I remember that one from 2017. Used to be some other Shitcoin Ant shares. Then they renamed and everybody started to pump that bag like it was going to be something, and they released a bunch of Shitcoins on their platform. Anyways, Ontology, I think, was one of them, and Switcheo. It's quite the name. It sounds like it should be a watch, right? Like a swatch, a Switcheo. I've got this crappy watch. Anyways, following the money. The assets stolen were 273 million of Ethereum, 253 million in tokens on Binance Smart Chain, and 85 million in USDC. Look at that, huh? ACZ enabling those scams, helping them out. What about all the auditors? Where are those guys? Does it even matter? Does it even matter? Anyways, all right. So, but it gets better because, people are going to track their shitcoins down. Anyways, following the blacklisting, a crypto user sent a transaction to one of the addresses containing the stolen funds, telling the hacker not to use USDT because it had been blacklisted. In response, the hacker sent, oh, look at that, 13.37 ETH to the user for the information. And to the old school nerds, which I'm sure today still applies, this actually spells leet backwards. Ooh, it's a elite hacker. Anyways, interesting. So here we go. Tracking down the attacker. All right, so they tracked them down. We're just gonna summarize this. Further crypto sleuths have noticed that some of the hackers' wallets show a lot of DeFi activity. They point out that the wallets have had many interactions with centralized exchanges, including FTX, Binance, and OKX, where the hacker may have undergone KYC measures. That'll get you every time. The hacker then sent a transaction from one of the wallets containing the stolen funds back to the same wallet. It included a message that reads, "It would have been a billion hack if I had moved remaining shitcoins. Did I just save the project? Not so interested in money. Now considering returning some tokens or just leaving them here." Don't get me wrong, but this is, they completely understand how insecure this is, and they're, I don't, hey, look, I don't blame the hacker. I completely, I completely understand, that obviously the people who got rug pulled are, rightfully upset, but at the end of the day, it's a scam. It's worse than a casino. It really is worse than a casino. We're not joking. I know, I would lose money overnight. I would go to sleep, and then in the morning I would wake up with less money, a lot less money. It was brutal. Anyways, there you have it, man. $611 million later. That's brutal.
That is, Phil, and I've just been laughing hysterically in the background while you're going through this, because it's like you think because we've been covering it's like $30 million, $27 million rug pull, and we're like, oh, these are horrible. When are people going to learn? And then today it's like $600 million. It's like, man, when will people when will people understand and learn? DeFi is not decentralized finance. It's centralized finance. But instead of, relying on the legacy system, right, that has some checks and balances and laws and whatever, right, where at least, you could follow the paper trail, right? With DeFi, you're trusting the person who writes the DeFi contract. He is essentially he is the god in that situation. And if he figures out an exploit, or if he's just malicious in the first place, he could do whatever he wants. And that's exactly what happened. He just took out all those funds. And I doubt anyone's going to get them back. Perhaps the stable coins, because, I know USDT, I know USDT, and I know USDC, which is Coinbase's stable coin. I know that they could freeze, the funds. Right. But dude, for Ethereum and all those other shit coins, man, those coins are never going to see the light of day. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone. And this guy's just going to keep on mixing them, holding them. And all those users, man, all those poor users that trusted this because of, all the DeFi idiots on Twitter basically saying DeFi is the future of finance. DeFi is the future of finance. The future of finance is not getting 600 million stolen. Okay, that is not the future of finance. And there's a fundamental problem with DeFi and smart contracts and all this BS. And we had Ben Kaufman on the other day to say it. It's extremely hard to secure a smart contract. And even if you get companies to audit, like we showed in yesterday's episode, the audits don't mean crap. They don't mean anything. Right. So instead of trusting, right, this legacy, the legacy system with, all your if you want to use financial products, right, that has, laws protecting it that have been built over, decades. Right. Which is it's a rigged system, I might add. but you're not going to get $600 million dollars stolen. In DeFi, you're just putting away the legacy system aside, and you're trusting kids in their mother's basements, writing the code. That's essentially what you're doing, right? So I hope some of you, paid your price of tuition with this, learned your lesson, just buy Bitcoin. And when you buy Bitcoin, you take self-custody, this will not and cannot happen to you, right? So instead of trying to hit this home run that it is statistically speaking, you will not hit it, right? Take the long time preference. Just buy Bitcoin. Hold it at least for 4 years. No one has lost a dime holding Bitcoin for 4 years. Hold it for 8 years. And why am I saying it in 4-year increments? Because those are the cycles, right? So if you hold Bitcoin for at least 2 cycles, man, it takes 1 cycle to realize that you made a good decision, to feel comfortable about your investment. It takes at least a minimum of 4 years, and it takes about 8 years to get drastically wealthier relative to the situation that you were in before, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes a long time. And all you have to do, it sounds very simple, but it's very difficult, right? Because you have to master your emotions with the volatility. Buy Bitcoin, continue dollar cost averaging, and hold it a minimum of 4 years, ideally 8 and 12 if you want to buy a yacht. Anyways, Phil.
Dude, there's like something wrong going on with the color of my screen. It's like shifting from like red to green. It's like as you're talking. I mean, look, you're absolutely right. But like these people, man, they keep thinking that they're gonna get the next thing, right? Everybody keeps saying, I know. We know the feeling, right? You think you're gonna hit the next one. You think that you're gonna get the next 1000x, the new 2000x. It's not.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna go back to what I keep saying. The DeFi people, they remind me of communists. Why do I say that, right? It's like we did it. Even though we've killed 100 million people, that wasn't real communism. The same shit. It's like, even though 600 million got stolen, that wasn't real DeFi. We're going to get it right next time. Man, it's like, nope. Because there is a single point of failure. You are trusting in someone. You're trusting the person that writes the smart contract. Bitcoin is trustless. You don't need to trust anybody. It works perfectly. But anyways,
trust Jesus. Minimized. We have to be honest. Trust minimized. That's accurate. Minimized. Trust minimized. I remember that. I remember saying it was trustless, and somebody came back and said, no, it's trust minimized.
Minimized. That's right. We have to be accurate. But yeah, man. Oh my God.
We may not be smart, but we can be accurate.
So all the haters in our comments, like saying, DeFi, there's like, there you go. 600 million rug pull. Yeah. Oh, gone.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody. This meme for today is brought to us by a fellow pleb. And let's give him the credit is due. You can follow him at Sam Usalo. Definitely go check him out. This is an awesome meme. Anyways, it is Janet Yellen, sneaking in that provision into the infrastructure bill, which we're going to talk about in the news segment. And she, tries to stop the Bitcoin train. But Yellow at the helm, have fun staying poor train just completely took Janet Yellen or the demon out of action. Funny as hell. Anyways, moving on to the next meme before we rate it. This was a meme brought to us by one of our. I'll give him credit after I'm done with the meme. I don't want to reveal too much. And this is Phil. The world's burning and Bitcoin's earning. This is Phil's joke. And then Nico in the most high-pitched voice. That's not crappy. It's a good joke. And then at the end, friendship. Oh, I had to review that meme just to get Phil's reaction. And give the credit or credit is due. This is one of our fans, man. Shout out to you. We have to bring him on the show one day. You can go follow him at Copper Nixon. And but anyways, for those awesome memes, bro. The Janet Yellen one. And then the friendship Johnny Depp one, amazing. And for that, Phil, I'm going to give it a very special score because Satoshi's been very upset with me. I'm going to give it Satoshi as the score. I'm going to give it Satoshi. Okay, and you don't get to cluck anymore, bro.
Man, I can't top that. You know, I definitely can't. But I just have to say that the old person jokes, like, this is what happens. They all turn into rhymes and it's bad. You know, like, I'm just saying, you know, they say that we don't turn into our parents, but it happens, you know, like, these are the crappy jokes that I listened to as a kid. And now, like, I end up saying these stupid rhyming things. Anyways, you know what? I'm giving it this very unconventional and very old iPod Touch charger. Hold on, there we go. Dude, that's a ridiculous score, man. That charger, dude, yeah, bro, it was the 13 pin, man. It was the OG. It was the OG charger for the iPod. Wow. Okay. Well, Satoshi, the Bitcoin chicken, that's supposed to cluck when the price of Bitcoin reaches an all-time high, but he's in a very bad mood because it's been 118 days since all-time high. And the OG original iPod charger. Awesome scores. But anyways, guys, you agree with our scores? You disagree? Let us know down in the comments. And of course, join our Telegram group. Link us some memes so we can review them because it's a meme review. That's what we do. We review Bitcoin memes. Anyways, Phil, it's time for the Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
All right. So what did we just see, guys? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sign and the sound of freedom being built. This is a mining container being built in the deep nature of the Congo, right? And of course, why is it being built in the deep nature of the Congo, right? Because there is what we've been saying for a very long time on this channel, isolated energy pockets, right? So all of a sudden it makes sense to bring, right, the energy, right, to bring the miners out to these places. And that's exactly what's happening in Africa. And it's not only the Congo, it's all of Africa, right? And as Big Block _DC explains, new sustainable sources of electricity are not rolling out fast enough. Bitcoin mining will speed things up, right? And here's a map of Africa, you know, that shows what percentage of the population has access to electricity, right? But now, right, that Bitcoin, right, essentially Bitcoin mining is going to be centered around isolated electricity production. This is actually going to help the continent of Africa to get more and more electricity. Why? Because now it's profitable to essentially roll out, you know, electricity production in isolated areas. Before, that didn't make sense, right? Because why would you build an electricity plant in the middle of the jungle or in the middle of the Congo, right, if you had to transport that hundreds of miles away to a city? Now you don't need to transport it hundreds of miles away. You could turn that isolated energy, isolated power into Bitcoin, into Satoshis. And that, of course, helps the continent of Africa, right? And here's an article by Alex Gladstein. Not only is it going to essentially give the African continent more access to electricity, it's also going to allow them to break free from this neo-colonialism that this article kind of explains, right? So there's an article by Alex Gladstein. We had him on the show. He's an incredible writer. He is the chief strategy officer at the Human Rights Foundation. And he says, fighting monetary colonialism with open source code, right? And the article goes on to say, as 1960 approached, decolonization seemed inevitable. Europe was united in disengaging from Africa after decades of depredations, and state-sponsored looting. But the French authorities realized that they could have their cake and eat it too by ceding political control while retaining monetary control. The legacy still stands today. In 15 countries that speak French and use a currency controlled by Paris, Senegal, Mali, Ivory Coast, Guinea, I can't pronounce that, Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, the Central African Republic, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, the Republic of Congo, and the Comoros. I'm sorry if I butchered any of those names, but you guys get the point. In 2021, the French still exert monetary control over more than 2.5 million square kilometers of African territory, an area 80% the size of India, right? So again, let's connect the dots, right? Essentially, the French, right, are controlling the monetary policy of all these countries because they're using the African franc, right? And the African franc is just a new version of neocolonialism, right? It's exploited. France, essentially, when France prints money, they're outsourcing that debt onto these African countries, right? But as I showed you with the cold opening in the beginning, right? Bitcoin mining, since Bitcoin mining is centered around isolated energy because that is cheap energy, and that's the only way to mine Bitcoin is around cheap energy, right? That's the only way to stay efficient, right? What you're seeing, Phil, right, is there's a way out now, right? There is a way out of not having to use the French's money, right? You could have a way out, and that way out is Bitcoin, right? A currency or a currency or a monetary, whatever, that isn't controlled by anyone. It isn't controlled by the French. It isn't controlled by anyone. Bitcoin's monetary policy is set in stone in the protocol, right? Every 4 years, there's a halving, causes supply shock, causes the price usually to pump up if the hash rate continues to go out, right? So what you're seeing, man, is you're seeing a revolution. But the revolution, and this is the beautiful part about this, Phil, is that the revolution is happening in countries that least benefit from the legacy system. So they're the first ones to benefit from Bitcoin. You're seeing this in El Salvador as well, right? What happened in El Salvador? They said, listen, we're getting destroyed by these remittance fees that we're paying, which is essentially a new form of neocolonialism, right? Where these rent-seeking American institutions are essentially taxing us 10% just so that we could send our money, right? Here comes Bitcoin. Nayib Bukele saw this and said, listen, why are we dealing with this stuff? Why are we dealing with this BS? Let's just lose Bitcoin, save ourselves the fees, right? And so that we're not ruled by a foreign country and their monetary policy. Because when the US and the French decide to print euros, and when the US decides to print dollars, essentially what they're doing is they're outsourcing that debt. They're dumping that debt to any other country that holds dollars. And in the case of the African nations, which I butchered pronouncing their names, it's the same thing. The French controls the monetary policy, and in the process, they're impoverishing the citizens of those countries, right? So obviously, Bitcoin, right, is slowly creeping back up, and it's slowly giving back sovereignty, right, and independence, right, from the United States and from France, because they've been taking advantage of these countries for far too long, right? And as you saw in that article, right, they couldn't colonize them, and they couldn't colonize those French countries anymore, right? You know, because the times have moved on, but in reality, they're still colonies, right? Because they're using the French's money, you know? So yeah, man, I saw that, you know, and it was literally a glimmer of hope, and that's what Bitcoin does. It's the shining light of hope in this dark ass world of fiat that we're living in. Phil?
You know, it's kind of interesting, right? Because when you look at some of these countries, and again, I don't know the histories of all of these countries, but the reality is that I'm sure that there's a lot of, you know, how could we say this? There's a lot of influence that keeps bad people in power in those places to ensure that the monetary system stays as it is. And as a result, you know, more and more people, I shouldn't even say as a result, I think that if you'd give anybody the opportunity to have monetary freedom over monetary slavery, they would take it. I mean, apparently, obviously, we're seeing something a little different, right? We're seeing, you know, plenty of agents of stupidity that are, you know, touting for a, you know, for monetary slavery, essentially, with fiat. But that's just because we've all been brainwashed. Like we've all been brainwashed by stupidity and ridiculous narratives. And, now that we have Bitcoin and we're able to actually undo that brainwashing, piece by piece, well, guess what? More people are waking up to the fact that we don't have to be monetary slaves. We do have a way to store our value without the government being able to control it. And yes, that is important. Why? I don't like it totally. I always go back to this. We spend our time that we cannot get back. We can't get any of that back. And then we get paid in a currency that can be frozen and that can be taken from us. Like, think about that. Like, it's insane, and like, it's beautiful to see these countries deciding to take a chance, right? Because for them, it is a risk. Like, they may not know what you and I sit around reading, right? We're in our echo chamber, right? We're constantly reading about Bitcoin, but those people may not know much more than, hey, this could be a way to retain our value and to be able to send money without ridiculous fees. And we can make our lives a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And they're taking advantage of, energy sources that are isolated from major population centers.
That's the key. Yes.
And they're making those into essentially Bitcoin money printers, in the middle of the Congo. That's awesome. When I read that, I was like, dude, that is badass. And what you're going to start to see is that people are going to start reorganizing. Right. So they're going to move away from cities and they're going to start to reorganize around cheap energy sources. Why? Because the Bitcoin honey badger incentivizes that. But anyways, moving on, guys, some crappy news, but we have to cover it. We lost this battle. OK, but, we did our best. Right. We've many times over the last couple days, I've said, to call your senators and do all that stuff. But I want to apologize for that. And the reason that I want to apologize for that personally, right, because I know that Phil already kind of knew this, is that I bought into this idea that, you can you could effectuate change, right? By calling your senators, by, making a ruckus on Twitter and, trying to essentially call your senators and tell them what's up. It was rigged. We were never meant to win. Okay. And I'll get into that in a second. This is Jerry Brito. He is, we've talked about him many times. He is, part of the lobbying arm of the Bitcoin shitcoin industry in Washington, D.C. And this is his tweet. He said, the bad news is that the amendment did not receive unanimous consent, so it will not make it into the bill. And of course, the amendment that he is talking about is the amendment that essentially would define what a broker is, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, it's so broadly defined, right? And I'm gonna read this tweet by Senator Ted Cruz, right? It's so broadly defined that it could potentially destroy the Bitcoin and shitcoin industry in the United States. And that was done on purpose. Let me read you his tweet. This infrastructure bill has in it a portion that is designed to obliterate the Bitcoin and shitcoin industry in the US. Now, who was that one senator that did not give that dissent? That one senator, he's not running for re-election. Oh, look at that, right? That's suspicious. His name is Senator Shelby, right? And let's check out some of the reasons. Senator Richard Shelby was the only member of the Senate to block a crypto-friendly compromise amendment to the infrastructure bill yesterday. The amendment changed the definition of crypto broker, an entity that effectuates crypto transfers. However, the definition was so broad that it could potentially apply to proof of work miners, proof of stake validators, and protocol developers. None of us are protected now, right? So if you're mining, right, and you're not reporting it to the IRS whose transactions it is that you're mining, which is literally impossible, right? Now you're considered, right, a criminal in the eyes of the U.S. government, right? Again, this bill does not go into effect until 2023. We still have a lot of time to fight it, but man, these people aren't playing by the same rules we are. Anyways, it goes on to say, Why? I wonder why he wasn't on board with this. Shelby's list of donors include defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Boeing, as well as major finance players like Citadel and MetLife. Shelby has been a career politician representing the state of Alabama in the Senate since 1986. Rejecting a crypto-friendly amendment is the signal, is an unusual move given his track record of supporting tax cuts and protesting against attempts by Democrats to increase taxes. He has also actively promoted financial privacy. Right? He's actively promoted financial privacy in the past, a core tenet of cryptocurrency technology. Speaking about a regulatory bill in 2010, Shelby said that it violated privacy rights by allowing the government to collect financial information. However, yesterday's vote, it appears that the financial privacy of the crypto ecosystem wasn't a concern of his. Why? Because he's not running for re-election and he was tapped. He was tapped on the shoulder and they said, listen, this thing does not pass, okay? And I have more evidence to back that up, Phil, okay?
We should see, you know what should be interesting is what Senator Shelby does in the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised if, you'll see something really big come out of him because, like you just said, he was tapped on the shoulder. I'm sure that, something in his favor is going to work out.
Yeah, and the question is, who is tapping, these people on the shoulder? Okay, and I'm going to read you some original thought that I had from this morning, right? I said, I am a first-generation immigrant, and the idea of America I envisioned as a boy is gone. The fact that the Treasury, an unelected body, had so much power to include a last-minute anti-Bitcoin provision and get away with it is a dictatorship, not a democracy.
Truth.
What the hell does the Treasury have to do with making legislation? And if you don't believe me, hear it from Cynthia Loomis herself. She slipped up when she said this. Check it out.
Treasury got a jump on us in trying to define broker in this bill. The fact that Treasury got a jump on us in trying to define broker in this bill.
The Treasury got a jump on us to try to define broker in this bill. Like we've been saying since last week, it was the Treasury, right? It was the Treasury that wanted this passed because they want to surveil and they want to control you. But let's check out the Treasury. Let's check out Janet Yellen. Let's see if she might have a conflict of interest, right? Let's check this out. Huge conflict uncovered. Janet Yellen made over $7 million in 2020 for speeches during COVID from Citi alone. Citi, isn't that a bank? Anyways, let's continue reading the article. Since much of America was locked down in 2020, those speeches are almost all Zoom calls done from her home, $7.2 million in total. Do you think that people really want to hear what Janet Yellen has to say?
I think this pathetic.
This is a bribe. This is a bribe, okay?
Yeah. We should be ashamed.
Yellen's official limited disclosure reveals she received millions more from other banks like Barclays, BNP, UBS, and more. That indicates that her incentives are completely misaligned because her government salary is just $200,000, around $200,000 a year, while Citi has paid her more than $7 million. Moreover, while the sum might look like a small amount for an open bribe, Yellen's worth is estimated to be $20 million. So these banks essentially paid her half her net worth for Zoom calls.
It's disgusting. Look, it just goes to show how worthless our money is.
And I'm going to play you this one more time, okay?
The fact that Treasury got a jump on us in trying to define broker.
The Treasury, right, that has no business in legislation, right, that is bought and paid for by big banks, I just showed you the receipts, right, was the one that stopped this goddamn amendment. So now governments have a big stick to come after Bitcoiners, right, because banks did not want that. Banks did not want the competition. This is utter corruption to the highest freaking levels, man. This is BS. And the only way we fix this, right? The only way is we defund them from within. We have to separate the money from state because it's corrupted them to the bone. And the way we do that is by opting out and buying yourself some goddamn Bitcoin, defund the state, fuck these people. These people are not in the interest of the people because Bitcoin and crypto and all the shit coins and whatever, all of that stuff, right? All it's going to do, right, specifically Bitcoin, it's going to free mankind. It's going to give private property to every single human being on the face of the planet. And Janet Yellen just got in front of that shit because the banks paid her $7.2 million. Fuck these people, man. Fuck these people. And I feel like an idiot for thinking that by calling your senator, we called them 46,000 times and it was all for nothing. It was all rigged. We were never meant to win. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Phil.
Yeah, they essentially paid $7.2 million. Like, I mean, like all the money she gets is money to be able to throw her in front, like under the bus. And that's exactly what it is. Like, this is what I've said before, right? Like, these people that we see that are doing these things, these are all just puppets. These are all just players on a stage that are put in front of us. And we sit there and think, oh, look, it's that person and what they think. No. Somebody's paying for all of this crap. And, okay, so look, I just want to say, I don't think that it was a waste of time. This is what I was telling you a little bit before the show. Like, look, okay? This is one thing I've learned, you know, being a corporate schmuck my whole life, okay? Is this. Okay, if they're going to make your life miserable, right, then why not pay the favor back, right? And that's exactly what it is. Like, if they're going to sit there and dick us around, then yeah, we're going to sit there and call 46,000 times. We're going to sit there and call 100,000 times. And you're going to have to sit there and waste all that time and deal with those phone calls. You know, it's like, there's no reason why they should be spared, okay, just because they've decided that they think that they can stop this. But I'll tell you this, man. They can't stop Bitcoin. This doesn't stop Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. This is no joke. This is the genie out of the bottle, right? Like, it doesn't go back in, right? It's like when you, what is it? It's like when you let the smoke out, you know, like from like a circuit. Like there's no getting the smoke back in. That's it.
No, it's
out. And they know that. They know it doesn't matter, right? What we're experiencing right now, this is just temporary garbage. They can't truly stop it. These people that are putting these laws in place, look, I know this is going to sound terrible, right? This happens to us all. We all die, right? These people, they're all getting older. They die. Younger people that are, you know, like that are learning about this stuff and that are properly educating themselves about Bitcoin. These people are growing up with Bitcoin and they are seeing they're seeing the virtues of this type of a monetary system. Well, who's to say that none of them are going to become politicians? And who's to say that none of them aren't going to go and change those laws? Like, that's what it takes. It takes people growing up. You know, it takes people understanding. We've made tons of mistakes throughout history that we've had to correct. You know, that this is the history of humans. You know, so look, right now, these old fools think that they're losing, you know, their grasp, and they are, because they've essentially sold our future. Okay, they've sold our future for their present, which is almost gone.
Yep.
So, you know what? TikTok,
man. And look, right? and guys, now let me give you some good news, right? Because we have been mobilizing on our side, right? I've spoken to many of my contacts, many predominant Bitcoiners, Bitcoin institutions that you've definitely heard of before. You like their tweets, right? We are making a Bitcoin super PAC, right? Because it can't be. We need more Bitcoin politicians in DC so that this type of, I don't want to keep cursing, doesn't happen anymore. Okay, so we are in the process of mobilizing. What Treasury did, right? Awoken a sleeping giant. We are in the process of mobilizing. We are going to be prepared and we are going to fight like hell. And we're going to have more Bitcoiners in Congress. So this type of fiat corrupt BS does not happen to us again. we will take it back. I promise you that. So some good news to end it, at least, you know, because the beginning was a little dark, but yeah, there's always hope. And remember, if all else fails, it doesn't matter. Just run your own node, possess your own Bitcoin, and we'll have a Bitcoin circular economy, man. But it's just crazy, dude. But they really exposed the rot in doing this. They really exposed the rot. And I think that's going to bite them in the future. But anyways, yeah.
They need us more than we need them.
Absolutely.
Okay? Just remember that. It's all an illusion. It's such a scam. Anyways, yeah.
The fiat system needs us. Bitcoin doesn't need us.
Nope.
So they need us using their shitty monopoly government money.
And we need Bitcoin.
And we need Bitcoin. And more people are waking up from the fiat matrix. But anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, everyone. We've got C Lightning version 0.10.1 that was released. It's not A Lightning, it's not B Lightning, it's C Lightning. Yeah, it's definitely C Lightning. It's down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Oh, man, I just write stuff. Okay, anyways. All right, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Help us defeat the shitcoin channels. And, of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fiat economist shitcoin rug pull fails and the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.